Is the real estate market crashing? This right now seems to be a big topic. Right now, if you are living in Canada, I'm located specifically in Brampton, Ontario. I service all of GTA as a real estate agent and mortgage agent most recently. And I have been definitely in tune with what's going on in the market. And, the news is one thing, but I noticed that the news has kind of delayed what we've been seeing real time in the market, right? And what we have been seeing is a lot of changes, most definitely, right? We've seen the peak of the market in 2022 after COVID. Most people thought that's when the market was going to crash during COVID, but actually it reversed. It actually skyrocketed to levels that is never seen before, right? And due to a number of factors, right? One of those being that we have a lack of housing supply, all right? And to coincide with that, we had a mass immigration, right? So we have a lot of people, coming into the country and you don't have enough homes to house them, then that's supply and demand. Basic economics, there's a high demand, low supply, so prices go up, right? And at that time, what we found was many offer presentations. And when you hear offer presentation, what that means is the sellers are looking for a bidding war. They're looking for people to come and see the home and love the home and do whatever they can to buy the home. And that happened. It was amazing for sellers at that time, amazing for anyone who was looking to refinance at that time, right? And because the money was, they were getting a lot of money, right? But we looked at last year and the year prior, and I say this is year three where we're seeing this decline happen, right? And the decline is happening because of the interest rates. The interest rates, and of course, there's a lot of other things as well, right? And I'll get into that as well throughout this video. And again, before I even go further, this YouTube channel, I'm here to inform you. I'm here to give you information and education. So I would appreciate if you subscribe to this channel, right? The more you subscribe, the more content that I can give, and I want to do even live sessions, but of course, I need more people to be on this session. So, this is something that's personable. I want to connect with the community, connect with you, and go out and do work on your behalf. This is my profession, as a real estate agent and as a mortgage agent, to go and get you the best information so that when you're planning to buy a home or when you're planning to refinance or to invest, right, then you have the right information to move forward with, right? So as I was mentioning, we also had the international buyers ban. So right now, currently in Canada, if you live outside of Canada, you cannot purchase residential real estate. Commercial, you can because it's a business, you're stimulating the economy, but for residential, they put a hold on that, right? Because many international buyers, we're still buying and we don't even have enough people to buy in Canada. So, they want to give the opportunity for Canadians to buy. But what has that done? That has dropped the prices, okay? Because there's less demand, right? Interest rates, they were going up, they were increasing to a peak point where, it was hard for people to even hold on to their home because the prices were so high. People were getting penalties. People were getting, had to pay lump sums, of money into their mortgage so that they could keep their home, right? And now what we're seeing is a spillover from that because many people have exhausted their funds, right? And they still have to pay their property tax. They still have to pay, things. So even though the interest rates have gone down, there's people are not as liquid as they were. So what I'm finding on my end, I have a handful of listings that are on the market. I have a few more listings appointments as well, in the coming weeks of people who are selling not because they want to sell, but because they have to sell, right? And that is a kind of a situation as well because when people are looking to sell because they have to, then what's happening is we're noticing that some homes are selling for less than market value, right? And by them selling for less than market value, then that makes everywhere in the neighborhood also decrease in value, right? So, what I'm informing my clients that I'm working with right now, if you are thinking about selling this year, anytime this year, then right now, let's meet up. let me show you the stats. Let me show you the details of what's going on so you can make an informed decision now sooner than later, right? Because if you wait for too long, you're knocking off money that can be in your pocket, all right? So, for example, I have a client who they told me that they wanted to sell over a year ago, right? And now we're going to be meeting, but in the past year, the real estate market has declined over 20% in this particular area, right? So the prices in of his liking, pretty much similar to his home, 2 years ago, was selling for about 1.3 million, right? And now it's selling for just over 1 million, right? So that's about $200,000 that, he could have been pocketed, for his family, even help his children, get a property. That's another thing that I'm going to be going deep into it as well, generational wealth and how to support your children in getting housing as well, right? Because right now, as you see, if you're in tune with geopolitics and Canadian politics in general, Mark Carney has just appointed his cabinet and the housing minister. They asked him, do you think that the housing pricing should go low? And he said, no. He said, what we have is a housing affordability issue, right? So they're planning on building modular prefab housing, for people to rent, but they're not talking about the equity and building, equity in your home, right? So for your children to want to own a home, it's becoming less and less likely, right? Because although, yes, we are seeing the numbers drop, for them, it's still difficult. So you actually, even if you do a refinance, and I can help you with that as well, and get some equity out of your home and let's go look for a property because right now it is a buyer's market, right? There are many opportunities out there. Many sellers are willing to negotiate. If anything, every seller is willing to negotiate, right? And so right now is a perfect time to buy, right? Whether you're buying resale and pre-construction is a little tricky, and the reason why I say that is because there are a lot of projects that are on hold right now, right? So you don't want to have your money tied in. Right now I do recommend resale, something that's built already. You can exchange it and you have possession for sure, in opposed to high-rise condo, which they have to actually have a percentage, and I'm talking about pre-construction, high-rise condo, where a percentage of the condo needs to be sold in order for them to start building. There are a specific amount of builders that are reliable and they will build either way, right? And that's who I direct my clients to, right? And we see they are continuing to build, right? But you got to be particular if you're going pre-construction, especially, all right? Because many developers, right now are not liquid to go and build, all right? So I want to go over the stats, just recent stats that have came out, just so you can get an idea in terms of, is the market crashing, right? You make a judgment, you make a decision on yourself, right? And, right now, based on a trend, let me just share my screen here with you. So if you look over here, then you'll see that, let's move this over here to the side. Yeah, so you'll see I have over here the data, for sale homes, right? And these are all homes, because I want to give a general picture. If you do want me to be more specific, then, just put in a comment, hey, Richard, can you go more in detail in this area, or in this many bedrooms, right? And this type of home, right? And I'll make a video for that. This channel, I'm strictly in service. I know there's a lot of people who are curious with the real estate market. Even though right now, we are seeing a slowdown, the interest is at an all-time high. So many people are gearing up, and I'm sure you may be one of those as well. So I want to help you, with that process to make sure that we cater that. I also do a real estate game plan session, right? I'll leave the link in this video as well, where you could go and you could book a meeting with me on a calendar, one-on-one session, right? Get some ideas of your goals and your objectives, on what you want to do, and I can help you all the way through the process. So everywhere from getting financed, getting your mortgage approved, and getting your property. Okay. So getting into these market stats right here, this shows April 2025, right? So this is Peel. As I mentioned, I am in Brampton. So this is Brampton, Mississauga, and Caledon. Okay. So what we're looking at right now, it's showing the median price right now overall, is eight 26,000, right? Compared to the prior month, which is 830,000. So there has been a dip in median price of homes. All right. Let's also look at the transaction volume. So how many homes have been selling, right? And we look over here, and in April of this year, right, which is last month, there was 272 transactions, right, compared to the prior month, which is 279 transactions. All right. So it looks like this has decreased as well in terms of transactions, right? What we're looking at the list price, the list price has actually gone up, right? I guess because we're in the spring market, going into summer market, the weather's getting nice, people are going out, so people are starting to list their homes more. But remember, and please keep in mind that list price and sold price are two different things. All right. That's something that's very important for you to understand. Right. And I'm going to show you why. Right. So I'm going to get straight to it, because there's so much information. I don't want to miss anything. So the reason why list price and sold price are two different things is because of one thing, meaning terminations. Okay. Look at the termination volume, and the terminations have increased. What does this mean? This means that the original list price that people are putting on the market is not selling. So what are they doing? They're terminating the listing, and then they're relisting their home at a more accurate price in compared to the market value. Okay. Also, for terminations, houses are not selling. They're on the market, they're not selling, right? So the listing will get terminated, and as it gets terminated, then they relist, or they just take it off the market in general. But we're looking at these two prices. The list price has gone up, but that doesn't really give you a true reflection of the market. Look at this as well. New listings volume, right? So month over month, we have over 125 more listings in April than we had in March, right? More sellers now are seeing the trends. They're seeing what's going on. They're seeing the transactions are going lower, right? And they're also seeing that the prices are going lower, right? So they're getting their house on the market so they could actually try to lock in today's pricing, right? So if you are also, on the fence, you're thinking about, hey, maybe I should wait, maybe I should wait. I'll tell you right now, it's better to get on the market now. All right. The waiting game, you may have to wait a few years, to be honest with you. Right. But right now, the prices are still reasonable. If we go back until before the boom in 2022, you'll see the prices are higher than they were in 2020. Right. But they are lower than the peak that they were at in 2022. Right. So there is still a lot of room, depending on when you purchase, of course. But if you purchase your home prior to 2020, then you still have a good chunk of equity that's in your home that you can sell and get a good profit. Okay. So, so we're looking at the percentage above list price, right, which has decreased, right? And, we're seeing the percentage of homes at list price, has increased, right? Also, what I want you to look at is the median days on market. How many days are they on market, the houses, right? And we're looking at 20 days and 18 days, right? So we've seen that, in terms of the prior month, we had less. They were on a days market for less days, and now they're on a market for more days, right? So these numbers going up are signs that, okay, the market right now, clearly it is a buyer's market, but also that the interest is not as there as it used to be. Okay. And people are interested. It's just the fact that there are many buyers are on the sideline because they see the trend where the direction is going and they want a good deal on their home. Right. So how do we make sure that we get the top price? We have to make sure that your home is properly staged. We have to make sure that your home is in good condition, right? Or let's make it in the best condition before getting on the market. So when people come into the house, they want to buy the home because the good homes are selling. The houses that look good, that present well, that show well are selling. All right. And the ones that where you're just putting it out in the market because you want to get rid of the home and you're not actually putting a little carrot into the home to make sure that it shows well, those are actually sitting on a little longer. And I understand right now banks are giving pressure to homeowners, and they're telling them, hey, we need you to either pay up or we're going to take over the home, right? And if you're in a situation like that, you don't have time for repair. You just got to put it on the market. And that is happening. In another video, I'll even go over the power of sales and the homes that are on power of sale right now, right? But for you, if you are a buyer, a first-time home buyer, my main recommendation is for you to get on a real estate game plan session that I'm having, because if we look over here, we look at the previous year and we see what's been happening. The total dollar volume of sales in homes from last year has been minus 29%, a 29% decrease in the sales volume of homes. All right. So this is something that you really want to pay attention to. And this is in the Peel region. If you are in the Toronto region, I'll show you what the stats look like there as well. Right. So in the Toronto area, as we see, still a minus 10.8%, in terms of pricing. Right. So we see over here, the prices in terms of what they actually have gone up. So Toronto is looking a lot more healthier than Brampton, right? We're seeing little price increases. The list price is also increased from the previous month, right? And from the previous year, it's actually hasn't changed, right? So, in Toronto, it's looking more healthier, right? And in Brampton, in the Peel region where I'm located, right now, if you are thinking about selling, get in contact with me. Again, I'm going to give these details, and I want to go and give you as much information as possible, right? And I know this is just a quick overview for you to see, is the market crashing? You tell me, what do you see based on the stats that I just showed you? What is it that you're seeing? Do you see that the market's crashing? And do you want to get in the market? Or do you work full time? Do you have employment and decent credit, or you're not sure what your credit is, but you want to own a home, you want to purchase a home, and you want to know the steps to make that happen? Set up a real estate game plan with me, all right? Because wherever you are in the process, even if you're just thinking about it and you just want to get an idea and see, hey, can I qualify, to own a home? Chances are you may be able to. Again, the numbers that I showed you on here are in Brampton, but there are other cities where the prices are lower even. You could even own a property right now for 500,000, 600,000, right? And as a first-time home buyer, you only need about 25,000, right? There's different programs for you to save money, for you to get down payment, as well as there is mom and dad that we got to talk to as well. If you are a young first-time home buyer, and you just need a little assistance, I'm going to show you how we can make this beneficial for yourself and for your parents, who will give you a gift for down payment. All right, as long as your credit's good, it is possible for you. All right, and just sit with me and we'll get it all ironed out. So thank you so much for watching this video. I'll go in deeper. If you want me to go in more, if you say, hey, Rich, we wanted you to keep going, please post a comment. Let me know. I want to know some feedback so I know how to curate these videos more, right? But I'm here to serve. I'm here to make sure that you make the best decision in your real estate process. Thank you for this time. God bless.